Happy Sunday and welcome to Your Space with your host, Hannah Arinite. We are here once again to give you, the young people, a platform to express yourselves and to express your views. I'm super excited for this particular episode because we do have a multitude of new faces that are going to be sharing on a topic that is a day-to-day conversation. I'm going to start with the lady at the extreme end. Hello, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Hannah, for having me today. I'm called Mobilize, the Vice President, Uganda National Students Association, also a student at Makerere University, offering a Bachelor of Journalism and Communication.
How has the week been?
My week has been amazing. Yeah, I caused a lot of impact to our country, so I'm really grateful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, Hannah. Thanks a lot for hosting me, and I'm very delighted to be here. Kabura Mzafali is my name. A finalist, a Air Force student at Makerere University. I'm the PRO of the DM Climate View and also the 88th Guild Minister for Information, Research and Technology, Makerere University.
Hello, Doctor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Anna, for having me too. I am Patricia Achano Kiria, Deputy Inspector General of Government. I'm happy and delighted to be part of this conversation and welcome our powerful student leaders who have joined us to have this constructive dialogue on how we can impact positively in this country in the fight against corruption. Thank you.
We're going to be looking at utilizing social media activism to mobilize young people and the youth against the fight of corruption and change in our country. I think sometimes we don't really understand the power of social media and how it can greatly influence a number of people. Hadija, I do know that you do have a good amount of following on social media. How powerful do you think social media is?
Social media is a powerful tool, basing on the reach, the number it can reach, basing on the timeliness it can deliver information, and also there's some information that can't actually be accessed by the traditional media channels. So everywhere you can be somewhere and you disseminate that information that traditional media has no access to, and I believe it's an ideal platform for, you know, for creating awareness, for sharing different perspectives from different people. Yeah, so I believe it's a big platform for anti-corruption.
Yeah, Muzafar, you did say that you are the PRO of
DM Climate.
DM Climate. When was that time that you realized that social media is a must-have when it comes to creating change and sharing information?
I think I'll start with this. I was listening to someone's speeches in the political realm, and he was saying that the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, when he went to the bush, he went with guns. But the generation we have right now has social media. They have cameras as their guns. That is when I realized that indeed social media is a must-have. And I think it manifested itself very well in the 2021 campaigns. These were campaigns which were conducted generally online.
Yes.
And you could see how people were influencing others using the social media platforms. So I managed to actually come to a conclusion that social media is really a very, very, very powerful tool that we must actually pay attention to, because you see, if it is something that is new and people do not know the ways of how to use it, in one way or another it can become dangerous.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
But we're coming to that, the dangerous zone of social media. But Dr. Patricia, is social media one of the things that your office is looking forward to using in the fight against corruption?
Yes, because like Muzaffaro and Hadija has said, social media indeed plays a very significant role in the fight against corruption, because the public can use social media to demand for accountability. And as the Inspectorate of Government, we have been rallying the citizens to join the war against corruption and contribute effectively in the fight against corruption. So with social media, we can be able to disseminate information quickly to the public. You can be able to mobilize people to make a demand for accountability. You can be able to mobilize people to hate, shun, and report cases of corruption. And then also, when we talk about the corruption perception, it's very easy to get the perception of the citizens in their perception about corruption through social media, because the information is just shared on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, and so on. So social media plays a very significant role. Then when you look at investigative journalism, previously it was so hard and difficult to investigate cases of corruption. But now with social media, someone can actually do a recording and send the information all over the place. I'll give you an example. What was happening in the airport, Entebbe International Airport. Someone just recorded the way passengers were being mishandled, mistreated, the way some people were asking for bribes. And our office picked that up, investigated it, caused a boardroom session, and there was a significant change. So social media plays a very, very significant role, and the youth can join the war against corruption and play a significant role by use of social media. And like Muzaffaru has said, the president went to the bush with guns, but today we can use social media as a very significant tool in the fight against corruption, because we can use it to confront those unethical practices out there. It can be a catapult for criminal investigations into cases which are brought out, and then it can help to promote the freedom of speech and expression, because nobody can begin criticizing anyone for what they have posted across. So it is considered more widely accessible and more resistant to even the top-down control. Anybody can access it from whichever part of the world. So the fight against corruption really requires wide information sharing. It requires a holistic approach so that everybody else can join in and contribute. And now going digital, I think social media will play a very significant role if the youth agree and join hands, because this country is ours and we really need to be patriotic. If we want to have a better Uganda. So by the use of social media, I believe it will provide a very good foundation for citizen engagement, where they can provide information on corruption so that the Inspectorate of Government can take up the cases and investigate them. So social media is very, very significant in the fight against corruption.
I'll come to you, Hadija. Do you why would you, first of all, let me stop assuming, do you think that maybe the young people should focus more on using social media and the digital era compared to traditional media in causing change and the fight against corruption or injustice in the country?
Yeah, I support that. Young people should literally use social media, because when it comes to social media, we have a two-way communication compared to traditional media. When you're on TV, the journalist or the reporter will say whatever they'll have to say, but there will be no two-way communication. You won't exchange your idea. But on social media, it's too interactive, and it brings different people from different categories to come together and discuss about an issue and come out with a solution. Social media, when I talk about social media, I'm not specific at talking about Twitter or what. Most people who are indulged into corruption and all that, or even people who can't be reached out, like maybe Deputy IGG, we can also look into extending this type of communication into TikTok, because there's most people who are into crimes. If you can easily release content that can relate with them, the content that can, through storytelling, their personal experience, and they feel like they can see where they are affected as people, and the communication is relating to them through TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Make sure something you can post on YouTube can go on all those platforms so that you can reach everyone from where they are. So, because me personally, it has worked for me through the projects I have. Many people have come on board because of social media. Many people have got hope because of social media. You post something, you tag people you think they are responsible, they do what? They respond. When I was interning at NBS, we used to go at Media Center, and then IGG came. she gave us the toll-free number that you can call. So I went on my Twitter and I was like, you guys, in case the officer tried to bribe you, in case this, please, this is the number you have to call. You don't know how engagement that Twitter space was.
Yeah.
Like the number of followers I got, and people had calls and they're like, so are they going to pick what? Then some actually called and they're like, actually the number is going through.
Yeah.
It's working. Hopefully they will respond. So I saw the power of social media. If at all we can identify those influential people in society or even on Twitter itself to disseminate that information, I believe we will fight corruption.
That's actually called transmedia, where you can share the same information in different ways to other social media platforms. Now, when you look at us here on TV, don't say that, Hannah, you're also there using traditional media. We're also available on all social media platforms at Your Space Uganda. But now let's get into the limitations of what using social media actually means. When it comes to lies, it comes to framing of people. Muzaffari had already brought in that conversation earlier on. What are the limitations when it comes to using this mode of sharing information against corruption?
You see, Hannah, the realm of social media has a lot of information. A lot of information. So in most cases, we find ourselves in a situation whereby people are eager to inform others, even about information that is not true. You understand? So you might see challenges. I saw one of the challenges that was going through, it was called the Me Too challenge.
Me Too challenge.
Yeah,
What was that?
it was about sexual harassment. So, but at the end of it all, it turned a shift from sexual harassment to exposing injustices. So one would be like, I paid for TV subscription, and then it did not last for the days I had paid it for. You know, all the forms of corruption. At the end of the day, it ends up in that same docket. So someone will be like, okay, me too, I also paid, and they did not. It did not last the days I was intending it to do. Then someone also comes and says, me too, from the other sector. So it comes from the various sectors. But you see, with a lot of information flowing in, it is not all going to come in a true sense. There are very many limitations that come with the use of social media, because people, at the end of the day, end up trying to, amplify their voices for their personal gains.
Yes.
So imagine a situation we had just of recent about the issue of the metal roofings saga we had. Some ministers were among the victims. People ended up trying to pin other political personnel to the Mabati issue because they had personal issues with them. You see, we are using social media to expose the fact that the iron sheets were directed to a certain group of people and they did not reach there. Social media is playing a very big role then. But someone comes and they are trying to divert us from that particular issue, bringing in personnel who are not actually in any way attached to the Mabati issue, but because they have their personal gains, they try to misinform the public. So the whole issue actually reigns on the factor of misinformation and disinformation, because when you do that, you're killing the whole process. Yeah.
Let's take a break. The conversation is getting hotter. We'll be right back in just a second. Welcome back from that mini break. You're still here on Your Space with your host, Hannah Arinita. We are still looking at how we can use social media as an activism change maker in the fight against corruption. Dr. Patricia, in your office, have you ever faced a situation where maybe a certain group of people or person have used social media for disinformation and maybe sent your team to a wrong direction?
It happens a lot. Well, social media can be subject to abuse. Like we have been recruiting at the Inspectorate of Government, but there are people who have generated their own list of the short list and sending around that, hey, this is the short list. Or even before the short list is out, they're already showing names of people. They have generated their own things. And it's a lot of fake news out there, which is circulating on social media. And yet we are saying social media actually plays a significant role. It can encourage citizenship, journalism. It mobilizes public opinion. It encourages citizen engagement and basically helps, especially in advocacy and causing people to have dialogue that leads people to want to change. Like the example Muzaffar has just shared, it causes people to want change. Like it can cause people to want to change positively in the fight against corruption. But there are limitations because one, it is subject to abuse. Sometimes there is false information or fake news out there. But we can counter that and leverage on the positive aspects of social media. Recently, there was a decision I took. You saw how it is spread on social media, and the whole world was looking at me like someone who had taken a wrong decision. And I told myself, now I cannot teach the whole world the law of evidence, because me, I paid fees and I studied this law, and I took oath that I would stand for and defend the Constitution and promote strict adherence to the rule of law, and every decision I take must be backed by the law. So when I saw that on social media, and the opposition took a different direction, and they're like, now she has dropped that case, she's encouraging corruption. And I was like, no, this social media is not doing a very good thing for this country. But you know, we can counter such abuses because it also requires a coordinated effort. Like if I have my brother Muzaffaru and my sister over there, and the youth can rally to bring out the truth, and we go for truthfulness and fairness and justice and advocate more for the fight against corruption, then we can be able to counter some of those negative effects of social media, or for the misuse of social media. But social media can draw lots of people through the network effects. Now, if people are drawn to a negative direction, just imagine the impact. But if we can cause that positivity and cause people to look at issues objectively and use social media responsibly, then I think we'll go a long way in dealing with vices like corruption. Because from the 2 years I've had in working in the Inspectorate of Government, I note that corruption, one of the serious biggest drivers of corruption is degeneration of values. We have lost it as a country. There is degeneration of values, and we need to begin thinking about inculcating values in the citizens of this country. Otherwise, social media has profoundly changed the way we engage these days. Just this morning, I saw communication that there is a paper of UNEB which has to be redone by the senior citizens. It came on social media. Now, just imagine if you think you have already done a practical annual. And sometimes you will think it is fake news, and you have to verify and discover. But it plays a significant role, especially in information sharing, notwithstanding the negative aspects of it as well, where it is subject to abuse or misuse by some people out there. Yes.
So now let's get into the physical, the actual practical ways we're going to use social media to fight against corruption. What are some of the strategies, Muzaffaru, that you have personally used? What are some of the social media strategies you have used and you have seen successful in engaging the society and the young people?
Actually, I'll refer to, there was a certain trip that guild leaders at Makerere University went to. I think they went to Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken. But there was a lot of scuffle to do with how the funds were spent. So by then I was, I think, in my year 2, and I was very eager to know, why are these people fighting over money? Now, I was eager to find out what amount of money was given to these people. What came out from the budget session. And also, no, she was one of the people who attended. So I was very eager to find out all those small details about that trip. So I realized that someone had gotten the money and they had misused it. So these people had left Uganda to another country, and they were suffering because of lack of funds, because someone had used the money for a certain for certain other things. And then they were trying to reach out to government officials this side in Uganda to help them clear the bills the other side. So what we did, first of all, we managed to make phone calls to the people who were involved. We wrote, I personally wrote a story under the guidance of one of my individuals by then who was my editor. I wrote a story about it, and I think we also made a flyer. That is infographics. You just get a simple information and you put it on a flyer, then you share it widely. So we did that. We also wrote a story. We also recorded a few clips about the issue. And at the end of the day, it managed to trigger people like Mutes who had attended that particular event. And she told me once that I'm going to do a documentary about this because we went through a very hard time because of some of our colleagues who are corrupt. But I don't know, because she was willing to do it through a documentary. Because these are some of the strategies that I used. Some people can do documentaries, you can use infographics, you can use online civic engagements like the X Spaces. You can use all those platforms to amplify your voice about these particular things. And at the end of the day, you're going to realize that people are very interested to know what is really happening. They just don't know where to get the information from.
Sorry to interject,
but
I had a plan of coming up with a documentary. But you know what happened?
What happened?
They stole my phone and deleted all.
Oh no!
You get,
because they didn't want to be exposed.
Now that is how easy it can get. Because just for her to record those clips, these are all social media apps we are going to use. She's going to use, there's an app called CalCut. It is, you can just join videos just in a quick way. Then after, you upload the video on YouTube. I mean, we have seen very many people use YouTube to expose corruption. You remember the investigative story that was done by Solomon Seranja, stealing from the sick. You remember also an investigation that was done still by his agency of the ghost health facilities.
Yes.
You understand? You also remember there's also an investigative story that was done by Daniel Lutaya about the misappropriation of funds in the Operation Wealth Creation. Still, all content was put on social media. So you just get a small clip from that long investigative story, put it on social media, attach a link on it, and it will pull numbers to your source.
I hope you are writing down some of these pointers. I don't want you guys to keep asking me on Twitter, Hannah, you didn't give us pointers. So let's also go to Hadija. Hadija, what are some of the successful social media strategies you have used in engaging the young people in creating change and the fight against corruption?
For me, what I've used is to engage young people, to be a bit creative and put a humor, and also to go with the trends. You know, with the young generation, we go with the trend. If something's trending, if today alien skin is trending, and you create maybe a corruption clip and all that, maybe alien skin features in it. Let me tell you, the fact that he's trending, everyone will be ready to receive that very content. I've used the influencers. I've partnered with, for example, for my project, Inspire Uganda, I go on social media, I fish out those people who are influential on social media. I share with them my idea, or it can be a project, it can be about anti-corruption. So those very partnership for people who are influential on social media, if you bring them on board and you share, they well know your dream, they know your goal, they know your objectives and aims. They'll push the content basing on your guideline, basing on your guidance. So the moment you bring those people to have respectable, informed discussions, for example, when Laxi hosts like a Twitter space, you talk with him like, today I want to have a theme about anti-corruption and all that. You know, he pulls out a big number. So if Lax comes on board, let me tell you, people will be ready to listen, even when, have you found some Twitter spaces where even the network goes off and the host disappears, but everyone is in the inbox. Where is this person? Where is this person? And the person like 15 minutes comes back and all the people come back. No one is even complaining that this person, you know, the network, what, everyone is eager to listen. So if you can identify such people for anti-corruption, let me tell you, in just in just like a month or a young, you're doing that at least every week. But all that can't go without protection. You know, most activists, most influencers who have come online to talk about corruption, they have faced a lot of obstacles, a lot of, but what mechanism do we have for them in space to feel like they are protected? You know, you have talked about misinformation, manipulation on social media, but I've not heard about cyberbullying. You know, these very people who give it all their all to, you know, to advocate, to be advocate for certain things, sometimes they are ignored. So I think partnership with media influencers, me, it has helped me from university during my campaign. I have put myself out there, you know. Through social media, funders have come on board. I could go into campaign without any single coin. But the moment, you know, my posters trend, my project trend, people be like, I like how you're doing this. I got this clip from Twitter. You're doing a very wonderful job. For example, my project, Inspire Uganda, we specifically first pushed it on Twitter. And my audience are like, is this project specifically for online audience? Or I was like, no, I'm actually going to reach out. I'm actually going to reach out to the people in the village out there. When we moved the whole country in all the schools in the 4 regions, East, North, West, and Central, by the time I finished, for now, I was called by the Ministry of Health to collaborate with them. But you know what? When I reached there in the office where they told me, we saw what you're doing on Twitter. We saw the impact you're causing in the society, and we believe you're beneficial to this project. So, because of social media, because of Twitter, you can be scooped out because you're outstanding. So, if at all you can identify such people who can cause impact, who are influential, who are listened by people, I know we can fight anti-corruption in this country.
Actually, Hannah, just to chip in a little bit, look at the exhibitions that have been happening just of recent. The education exhibition, the health exhibition, the pothole exhibition. I don't know, but someone came up with the idea, and before I know it, people are using humor and satire to communicate,
Yes,
to combat corruption.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to continue this conversation next Sunday. Keep it locked here on Your Space with your host, Hannah Arinite. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye.